Far offshore in the Pacific near Taiwan's Lanyu and Orchid Island, the sea transforms each spring into a unique natural stage. For a few short weeks, flying fish arrive in massive numbers, their silver bodies flashing across the surface like scattered sparks of light. This migration marks the beginning of a tradition that has lasted for generations, a 48-hour race where fishermen must read the tide, the moon, and the shifting currents to secure their yearly catch. In this narrow window, skill and timing decide everything, turning a simple fishing trip into a high-stakes pursuit shaped by rhythm, instinct, and respect for the sea. For the island fishermen, flying fish are not just seafood. They're a seasonal lifeline tied to tides, moonlight, and warm currents. Each spring, when the Kuroshio current shifts and the full moon brightens the shoreline, flying fish gather near the coast to spawn. But this window is incredibly brief. Only about 48 hours, when water temperature, tide height, and moon phase align perfectly. Too early, the fish remain offshore. Too late, they disappear into deep water for another year. Females scatter tens of thousands of eggs onto seaweed rocks or bundles of artificial grass placed by fishermen. But only a tiny fraction survive, making timing absolutely critical. Missing this moment means losing an entire season that fishermen have waited 11 months for. Flying fish may be small, but they are built for survival. With long pectoral fins that act like wings, they can break through the surface and glide up to 200 meters, escaping predators in a single burst. Their streamlined bodies and tail strength allow them to reach speeds over 35 mph, making them one of the ocean's fastest escape artists. When warming currents push them toward shore from Taiwan to Okinawa, their spawning instinct brings them close enough for fishermen to act. But heavy swells and sudden monsoon winds often hit at the same moment, turning the hunt into a high-risk gamble. Every boat must be ready to launch instantly. A wrong choice in where to set nets can cost the entire harvest. But when the crew predicts the movement correctly, this short migration can feed entire villages for months. Along the shores of Lanyu and other Pacific islands, the call to launch comes not from technology, but from signs that fishermen have read for generations. A sudden shift in tide, a soft glow beneath the surface, or the way moonlight scatters along the waves, all signal that the flying fish have arrived. Boats are prepared within hours. Nets are checked. Ropes are coiled. And every crew member knows exactly where to position themselves. Because once the fish enter the shallows, the 48-hour countdown officially begins. The sea may be calm, or it may turn rough within minutes, but the fishermen can't wait. Every hour lost is a lost season. Once a school is spotted cutting through the surface, the fishing fleet moves into formation. Flying fish travel fast, so the entire crew works like a coordinated machine. Large, lightweight barrier nets are set directly in the path of the school. As the fish leap above the water, they meet the tall mesh walls that stop their flight. Each impact creates a sharp slap that tells the crew it's time to haul. The nets stretch dozens of meters, forming a funnel that gathers thousands of fish at once. The boat drifts with the current while crew members manage the ropes, keeping tension steady and preventing the fish from slipping back into the sea. In the middle of the controlled chaos, precision matters. A slight delay, and the fish will glide over the net's edge. Pull too quickly, and the fins tear, lowering their value. Within minutes, the catch is brought onto the deck, a cascade of silver-blue bodies still glistening with seawater. The crew immediately sorts the fish, placing only unbruised, intact ones into ice-filled containers. The process repeats over and over. As long as the school remains close and the tide is right, the harvest continues without pause. In a good hour, a single boat can catch thousands. This is the moment that determines the entire year. Although flying fish fishing is rooted in ancient island traditions, modern fleets now rely on real-time tools to increase accuracy. Surface radar helps detect rapid clusters of movement, while small onboard sensors track tide shifts and water temperature indicators that affect flying fish behavior. But technology only supports. Final decisions still rest on the instincts of the captain. Instincts sharpened through decades on the same stretch of sea. On deck, the race continues even after the nets are pulled. Flying fish spoil quickly, so the crew sorts them immediately. Only fish with smooth skin and undamaged fins qualify as premium quality. They're rinsed with chilled seawater, packed in insulated containers, and kept at low temperatures to preserve texture and color until the boat reaches port. Any delay affects value and reputation. Across Asia, Europe, and the US, flying fish become more than a seasonal catch. They transform into fine dining ingredients. Chefs value their clean flavor and delicate texture, turning them into sashimi, lightly grilled fillets, or Mediterranean-style dishes. Even the roe plays a role, adding color and crunch to noodles, salads, and sushi. Every plate reflects the discipline at sea, the speed of harvest, and the precision of cold chain handling that keeps the fish fresh from ocean to table. While demand grows flying, fish seasons are shrinking. Warmer waters disrupt migration patterns, and unpredictable monsoon shifts make the 48-hour window increasingly unstable. Fishermen now work closely with marine scientists to adjust timing, protect spawning grounds, and prevent overharvesting, ensuring the migration continues for future generations. When the final nets are pulled and the 48-hour window closes, the boats head home, tired, soaked, but proud. Each season is a reminder that this tradition survives not through luck, but through knowledge, precision, and respect for the ocean's rhythm. And as long as flying fish return to these currents, the people who depend on them will continue the race one tide, one moon, and one season at a time.